Okay, recording has started.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to open the September 23rd, 2025 zoning meeting. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we will start with roll call for our members of staff.
Mike Kozlowski, Vice Chairman.
Paul Shanley, Chairman.
Secretary. Diane Ryan, Commissioner.
Bob Wagner, member.
Doug Cuny, alternate.
Staff with us this evening.
Dave McCollum, land use coordinator.
Jeremy DeCarly, interim town planner.
Amanda Martinez, recording secretary.
Excellent. I think we have all of our members here tonight, so we don't have to see the alternates. We're going to move right into a new public hearing for Clark Studio Incorporated, 21 Trowbridge. Would you like to do the honors?
Sure. To appear September 12th, 2025, September 19th, 2025, Charlotte Service. The Bethel Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on September 23rd, 2025, in Meeting Room D of the Municipal Center, 1 School Street, Dover, Connecticut, at 7 p.m. to hear the following. Bar Studio Inc. for the property located at 21 Trowbridge Drive for a windows manufacturer. The application consists of a site plan and special permit for excavation and fill of material associated with the site in the amount greater than 1,000 cubic yards. The property can be found in the assessor's record as map 12, block 28, and lot 105-2. A link to review the materials can be found on the town's website. The public may send comments via regular mail and email to landuse@bethelct.gov. Parking for the hearing is located to the rear of the building. Paul Shanley, Chairman.
Excellent. And with us this evening,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James DeMeo. I'm a professional engineer. I'm representing Skyview Builders for 21 Trowbridge Drive. As most of you know, this is in the industrial park. It's one of the 4 lots that were created with that subdivision and the Trowbridge Drive extension. The existing lot is, I'll just jump to the survey on this. The existing lot is just about or just over 3 acres. And as you can tell, it's all graded towards the cul-de-sac of Trowbridge. This is the tree line here, which makes up about 75% of the lot. Above that, it is incredibly steep. It's just very steep, it's the easiest way to describe it. And then up front, it does get a little bit more level, so it's not quite as bad. As you know, when Trowbridge Drive was constructed, they installed all the infrastructure, storm drainage, and other utilities. So what we are proposing is a 22,800 square foot building. This building is for manufacturing of windows and doors. We are expected, just to give you an idea of traffic, expected to really only get about 1 tractor trailer load of materials a week. I was informed 1 to 2 weeks, but let's just err on the side of caution, say one every week. We will have the configuration for this property will be a one-way in, and vehicular traffic will go clockwise and one way out. So in and out. We will end up with, in order to comply with parking requirements of 1.5 spaces per 1,000 square feet, we need about 39 parking spaces. So we're going to provide the 39. In order to do so, we need 2 ADA spaces. We will have pedestrian doors along this corner. The main ADA access will become this door, but then all of these little rectangles in the back, these are all overhead doors where a something, a smaller vehicle like a box truck or if the manufacturer needs to get some equipment in and out, they'll be able to utilize these doors. But all these doors also have pedestrian doors in them as well. Same thing, we have another overhead door here, and then right here is where we're going to have a ramp that goes down to a flat spot, which 20 feet of this lower indent for the loading dock will actually be inside the building. So this way they can unload load in any type of weather and be fully enclosed. What we will also have, we have, a bunch of landscaping all along the frontage. We got some smaller shrubs around the perimeters and where we have room. Each island will have trees as well. Our dumpster enclosure is off in this corner. It will be have a vinyl enclosure. Our mechanicals and generator will be located in this corner of the building. This is pretty much the main site layout. We will have to relocate some utilities in the road. So we have a couple of transformers that are right here. Unfortunately, we're going to have to relocate them to at least the other side of the driveway. However, all the rest of the utilities should work out. We will have to remove quite a bit of material. It's over 4,000 or I want to double check out. It's about 250. Yep. 4,400 cubic yards of material is what the export is off the site. Equates to roughly 250 triaxle loads of material off. This will create a large retaining wall that will have a plus or minus max height of about 24 feet and be about 525 feet long, plus or minus. But we need to do that in order to house the building as well as the parking and stormwater infrastructure we need improvements. I would like to note that we do have some grading on the adjoining property. My client also owns that property as well, and it's going to be coming in with a separate application, but in this application, it's just to kind of help in the process of building this. Our stormwater system, we have multiple catch basins all throughout the site, and we're going to have a pretty hefty Coltex system. The bulk of it is located here on the side of the building, which then has basically a level pipe going to a manhole and across to a second Coltex system. So all of this system is actually level underneath, so it all acts as one. We just kind of ran out of room to put it all in one location. So we're complying with the stormwater requirements for the site. We have recently gotten some comments, and then I submitted a revision, then we got some more comments right after I submitted, but that's okay. None of like the utility, water and or sewer comments. Basically those just indicated for, we're going to need to go and get the approvals, and we understand that. That's nothing that's really a design change, so we're okay with those. Aside from that, we did get the town planner and the town engineer's comments. We did try to address all of them as much as I believe I tried to address every single one of the comments, hopefully to their satisfaction. But again, they haven't had time to review it at this point either, so I can't.
Next meeting.
Yeah, well, so I don't want to promise that I did everything, and then, but hopefully soon. So what we will end up with, it's kind of hard to give you a good idea of what this back wall will look like. But to give you an idea, it's going to be over 10,000 square feet high, or square foot in the face. There will be obviously need to be blasting for this. And then we will be doing some crushing on site as well, so that we can try to haul away the material and process a little bit. We are expecting the construction to last about a year. He's very eager to get in and get this constructed and going. The final design for this wall is still to be almost determined by the geotech. So once we get planning and zoning approval, we're gonna discuss everything and finalize the actual design with the geotech. There were borings already done. So everything is I've been informed is all possible, and there's no major concerns with that. We have two strategies right now for this wall. The first strategy is so because there's a lot of rock there, lack of a better description, cap it with either a cast in place concrete wall or a stacked wall where we'll be able to pin into that rock. Yeah, it will be high, but it's not, there's going to be rock behind it, so it'll be strong. The other alternative, and depending upon the geotech, will determine if we are going to not cap it and also the level of overburden. But what we would end up doing, because there's some concerns about if you don't cap it, then you have basically you need a fallout zone, because as water runs over the top, it starts to pop any loose sections of the rock. So if we go that route, I'm sure some of you have seen it done around. It's almost like a chain link fence that's fastened to it to help keep the rocks from falling out. It keeps them contained. So basically, it's a big wire mesh over it that's fastened to the slope itself. Yeah, it's starting to become a little bit more popular, for better or for worse.
You know, approximately high that is, that wall?
Plus or minus 24 feet.
Okay.
So 24 is kind of the upper limit. And let me show you this profile right here.
You're thinking of a two-step wall?
No, all one.
Wall one?
So the problem comes into, so we did discuss stepping it. The problem with stepping it is the slope in the back is so steep that by the time we step it 10 feet, we're still with a 24-foot wall. You know what I mean? Like it really, we didn't gain much by trying that. That was looked at very briefly in the beginning. So on the profile, just to give ideas, these numbers down here are the height from the finished parking lot. So as you can see, 19.2, 20, 24, 24.17, 24.6, 24, 23, 22, 22, 21, 24. So we're meandering around plus or minus 20 to 24 is a fold of it, which is mainly that whole back face of it. So the wall will come from the front of the property. So it's going to start here and it's going to go back. And then pretty much this is one of the high points, and one of the other high points is roughly around here. But again, this is still very high, and then it tapers down to nothing. What we are proposing for this is our sediment erosion control plan. I'm showing this as our material processing area. So this is a relatively flat area to begin with. So we will be doing some minor grading, but this will be a relatively decent pad. I was trying to keep it off the road and far enough back. But this is mainly where the processing will happen right in the middle of the lot. One other thing I forgot to note is on the top of the wall, we are proposing a 6-foot high chain link fence, and that's going to literally need to be installed before any blasting. Once we blast and do all that, we're not going to be able to get up there. So all that work is going to need to happen right from the get-go. Then what we will also be doing during construction, we will be surrounding it with a chain link fence as well. just because of the amount of material we'll be handling, all that. Again, standard sediment erosion control measures. We do have a low point in this corner of the property, which will act as our, we'll create a little sediment trap there during construction. We have our delivery truck turning movements. This is the most restrictive movement, is when the truck comes in, they won't have a problem backing down. So this is the main movement that we really all felt that we needed to demonstrate. So it'll be able to make it out and then onto Trowbridge. Fire truck has plenty of room now in comparison to the delivery truck. The pretty much standard details, Coltex. This is again so this is the interior. Basically, they'll end up with just a bathroom over in the back corner. So again, this is where the mechanicals are. This is where I had pretty much was talking about the box truck, and this is where the tractor trailer will come in. So you will have a bathroom on this end, and then a bathroom on the other end. And I'm going to show you is architecturals. Preface this by saying I am not an architect. I believe there was a profile. It's basically a metal building, like a prefab metal building. We are one of the other comments I want to just bring up too. We're not proposing any site lighting at this time. We don't need any exterior lighting aside from what's going to be required by building code. So a lighting plan wasn't prepared. So we're not doing anything with that. The only other thing that I will add, I'm just going to kind of go through a couple of the major comments, or what I felt were major comments between the town engineer and the planner. We have the ADA, we have the turning movements. Originally, I had a catch basin on the inside of here just as a precaution, but that'll most likely force us to have to go to deep. So I removed it and just changed the spot grades in there, so we only have the one catch basin just outside. So in case any water comes down that ramp, I wanted it to be able to just help capture it, but I revised the grading, so we didn't need that anymore. I already talked about the wall. Proposed building height, we're looking at about 26 feet 3 inches to the top of the parapet walls. So we're well under the maximum of 35. We will have the rock crushing. And those were the major comments that I felt kind of warranted some design changes. So with that, I will put it up for this.
Thank you. I don't think anyone signed up. Is there anyone here that wanted to speak on this? Some public comment towards this? No? Is there anyone online? Anyone online that wants to put in their public comment?
David, is there anybody online?
I'm not seeing any hands raised, Madam Secretary.
All right. Hey, you got
Good presentation. I'm glad they're investing in Bethel.
24-foot wall in the back is a little intimidating, especially with cars parked 2 feet away. It looks like on that plan.
We started at 35. So we're a lot less now.
How did you get it down to 24? Did you lower
So-
shrink the footprint of the building?
So the first layout was to have actual loading bays in the front of the building. So the building was significantly further back because I had to have tractor trailers be able to pull up and back into the front of the building. We're no longer doing that. because of the size of the wall and the sheer cost just to get a pad, let alone any other construction. So, so we revised it. So the property owner is not going to get as many loading bays as he once had. But it's a more viable project this way. So yeah, yes, it is intimidating. We have about 5 feet from the base of the slope to the curb. So it's not, so again, if there's no form of catchment, then it would be too close because we don't have a good fallout zone. But again, that's why we're either going to cap it or provide the deck. Those are the two main options.
And the netting's not really, usually doesn't look,
I don't. I mean,
aesthetically pleasing. But how's the pedestrian traffic around it? I don't see any sidewalks or anything to get around it. It's a big building. I mean, everyone just parks and then walks in those back doors.
yes, sir. Yeah.
And not a lot of visitors.
No, it's strictly manufacturing, no sales. So it's literally just the employees, which he's estimating about 20 to 30 employees. So we have more parking than is needed. Yeah, well, 39, again, we're following the zoning regs on it. Didn't feel it was warranted to really push for the deferred parking at this time. Because he may end up every once in a while utilizing them. So that's why we didn't go for the deferred parking for those other 9. We just opted to put it in.
Did you have an architectural show the front of the building? I saw the back, the doors.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I can see windows in the company that makes windows.
So the front of the building is going to be mainly windows.
Okay. That might have been a structural plan.
Sorry. There we go. Okay. So basically the easiest, let me try to show it this way. All right. So on this plan here, unfortunately against me, they already ordered the building. So the building already has the rough openings. So in the back, so this is the back along the wall. So these are all overhead door bays. And then in the front, we don't have the bays anymore. These are just they're going to actually infill it with windows. So when you're driving down the road and you pull up, it's going to look like big windows inside of it. So it'll look open and that type of setting.
Makes sense. I was gonna ask you about your employee count, but you're pushing 39 spots. Makes sense to put them all in now. I was gonna say deferred, like I'd rather see less asphalt, but makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that we would, basically what we'd be able to lose is maybe like this group.
You're blasting out all that anyway. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not like it'll help us by pulling things away or doing something else like that. Like it's literally all that we would do is just lose like one of these groups.
Sure. To go kind of back on Jeff's point with the architectural drawings, if you could for next meeting, since I know you have some back and forth, you can have you have a floor plan. If they can have just elevation, I think it'll just help everyone kind of understand the front of the building. I can see that.
More like a rendering?
Yeah, not a rendering, just elevation that shows like the mullions of the windows, just so we all see it. Like I get it. It makes sense, but
great.
if you can do a rendering, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Paul. But no, I see what you're trying to do there. But I think for everyone here, it would just be very helpful. Is it planned to be a flex building? I see on the architectural, there's like dashed in toilets. Right now, it's going to be the entire building's going to be the window manufacturer. So on the floor plan, it showed kind of that. I get it. That's the inside. It's not really planning zoning. I'm just more curious out of anything.
Yeah, he's planning on utilizing the entirety of the building. Okay. This is text. I've not been told.
Okay. And then my last question is, and just something to think about, utilize that backwards. You're going to end up pouring a concrete wall against that Stone, if you guys, and you wanted more loading docks in the front, if you had thought about using the back retaining wall as part of the building, I know you already ordered the steel, so it's probably a moot point. But literally pushing it against that retaining wall, you wouldn't have access behind, your park would be in front in that case.
The problem comes into, one, we really have to make sure that we stop any water from hitting that face, and coming down that steep slope. So that was one of the comments from the town engineer, where he was asking about how we're gonna be able to direct the water around. And the short answer is we have one of two options. One, we either kind of create a small, like, curtain drain.
Sure.
We don't really have enough room to do like a swale. So the problem is if we do a swale, if our wall's 24 feet, we got to go another
Yeah, make
8
that,
feet
yeah.
just to be able to create that swath back. So if we're able to do something more, if we have enough overburden on top of the rock, that we can put in, curtain drain, sorry. So all stone up and pipe it around. Or the alternative is, again, just let it flow naturally over as long as our overburden isn't too much.
Sure.
And again, that's up to the geotech to decide. However, either way, all of it is accounted for in the stormwater system. So whether it runs over the top, goes into one of the catch basins in the back, or we pipe it around into the catch basins and then up into the underground, it's all accounted either way.
But Deco, Kenny, thanks for investing in the industrial park here. Awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank heavens, most of my questions have already been answered. But I did have one about, the trucks. When the trucks are loaded, where are they going?
So he
Are we
had,
leaving the park, or we put them on the other side of the property?
oh, no, so basically he'll bring, supplies, materials in to the property,
Mhm.
back the tractor trailer into the building, unload it. There's no outdoor storage.
No, I'm talking about
Yeah,
when they
correct.
excavate. Excavation,
Oh, yeah, no, that's leaving.
that's all the,
Yeah, all that material has to leave the site. We don't have any place to put it. Yeah. So
In front of my house.
that's a lot of material. I don't know about that much. Yeah, so it's gonna have to leave the site.
that's right. My other big question was, where are the customers going, well, there aren't going to be any customers. And in this pile here, within each set, is there a full landscaping plan in here?
Yeah, it's part of the site layout.
Okay, I've not looked at that yet, so I'll have to do that. Okay, I think everything else, okay, I'm done. Ms. Ryan?
I guess my question is, you said there were handicap spots, right? And they're closer to the.
Yep.
front.
Yep, there is a random front right here.
Okay, and handicap access.
Yeah, again, everything else inside is all like level, flat, aside from the request for the loading down.
Okay. We've heard a lot about rock crushers and all that material. I'm concerned about all those trucks leaving all the material and the rock crushing. Last we got to see that blasting project before us. That's one of my concerns. And then how many trucks are going to be leaving with completed doors and windows? That's another.
Yes, so again, he really only is gonna have, he said one tractor trailer every week or every other week.
That's going to leave with. them.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the materials coming in and coming out. So it's very minimal in terms of that once it's constructed.
I'm sorry, can I expand on your question? So I understand you're taking the worst case of the tractor trailer. Raw materials. But you got 10 bays. Are those to load delivery trucks?
So
And the 10, I'm not counting the slope one to the loading.
yes, so you're talking like the ones in the rear
Right,
by the
plus
wall.
another one.
and plus this one. That's to load, for instance, if they have like a smaller job where they're gonna be utilizing like the windows and doors, they'll load it onto like a small box truck.
Right, for delivery.
for one of their projects, yeah. Their individual specific.
So nobody would invest this kind of money on 10 bays if they don't anticipate having that traffic going down. Do you have a traffic count for deliveries?
It's not gonna be very much. I mean,
See, that's the problem.
yeah, so
The part that I'm having
I'll get that
difficulty
number for you.
connecting is it's not gonna be a lot of delivery, but I got 10 bays.
Well, it allows them to park the box trucks there and load over time, you know what I mean? So he can leave a box truck inside the building in one of those bays for a couple of days while he trucks the windows and loads. And then also have another vehicle pulled in ready for another job, you know what I mean? So he's able to, but that's the purpose of it, is to be able to stage himself and to be able to stage himself indoors. Again, the traffic really shouldn't be much. I mean, even if he at worst case scenario, 10 vehicles left a day, I can't, he's not going to be able to manufacture and export more than 10 box trucks a day. So even if that's worst case scenario, that's yeah.
That's bad. Sure. Is your roof, flat or?
Yeah. I think it has a,
You don't want flat snow.
yeah, I believe it has a minor pitch. It's
Based
not,
on your section is sloped.
yeah, it's not like a peak, but it does have a slight, yeah.
I didn't see a picture of the
Yeah, we didn't see.
building.
Yeah, so essentially this is
Got
what,
a half inch per foot, which is standard for a metal building.
yeah, it's not a whole lot, it's just,
And
I don't know if that's truly been determined yet. I know the structure's been ordered, but I don't know if the
Color didn't pick that yet.
yeah, I don't believe it has.
Yeah, if you could, those renders will help too, for that part.
That's it on my question.
All good. I have a couple questions. Oh, yeah. Mr. Legnar?
No, I'm good.
He's good.
Good. I just wanted to confirm, you had 39 parking spaces, 288 spaces, so 41 total?
No, 39.
Oh, it's 39 total, so it's 37 regulars.
37 regular, yeah, 2.
Question on the indoor loading dock. It's sloped down, correct?
Correct.
So how are you planning to keep water from running down there? Again, like that?
So,
Yeah, there's just this. This is the building, the trucks can come in and it'll be sloped down, the water will go down.
yep. Yes, so we do have a drain.
So as the truck backs in, it actually backs up the ramp?
And I,
No. So the truck will back down. So, all right, so. Sorry, it's easier for me to point. This is the loading dock inside the building.
Yes.
Here where the truck wheels are is 4 feet lower than the rest of the slab. So this is, the main slab is 436. This is 432.
Okay.
Out here, we're at about 434, 435, right here. So this is gonna slope down to about here. So this is the small ramp. And then this, from here to here, is essentially flat. So we're,
I understand. So-
is flat with very minimal pitch with a low point where the catch basin is.
So the entire truck's gonna back inside the shop.
No,
about 10
no.
feet.
So only 20 feet of the trailer is gonna be on, like,
In the shop?
yeah, in the shop.
Okay.
And the door, yeah, windows and door manufacturer, he's gonna custom make the door. So literally when it's like a normal garage door, it's gonna pull all the way down. So a normal 14-foot, I think these bays are 14 feet high. So this is an additional 4, so it's 18 feet high. So it's gonna come all the way down. He's gonna, manufacture the tracking so it can actually close all the way down as well.
Around.
No, when the truck's not there.
Okay, so when the truck is there,
The door's
And that
all the way
goes
up. Yeah, it's just the door's all the way up. So think of it like a garage, like a normal garage door. So when that garage bay is being utilized, the door's open. It's just at night in order for security, because otherwise, if it wasn't extra tall door, there'd be a 4-foot gap on the bottom where anybody could just like walk right in, get inside the building. So basically that's how he's dealing with that. Is he's just gonna make the door longer so it goes all the way down to the ground.
and when it's open, and they're delivering or whatever they're doing at that spot, all the air is gonna come into where they're manufacturing, or do you have something in there?
Nope, it's gonna be open like you get a garage door.
I didn't know what they needed to have it,
That's just, so basically that's just cut out in the floor.
Yeah.
So the truck just backs in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the easiest way to describe it. Yes.
And then there's a drain at the bottom.
Yes.
So that's, I didn't know. Yeah, so it's basically level at the bottom, I got it.
Yeah, and it's that drain, the only water that it's collecting is any rain that falls between here and here.
Right.
Because this is sloping down and this is just a hole. So gotta have some way to get that water out, otherwise next thing you know.
I just asked.
Yeah.
At work, but our loading dock floods constantly, so. That's why I was asking.
Hence why originally too, I was like, you know what, I'll
Yeah.
throw 2 catch basins in there, but not if we have to do it deep. So we'll just have the one.
And then, I know you said that you weren't adding a lighting plan, just what was the minimum for building code. Can you, touch on what that exactly is?
Yeah, so basically it's just any lighting, around the like pedestrian doors.
Okay.
Which would be like,
Like the 8 on the back?
yeah, it'd be just those little sconces that are 6 feet up in the air. Right there to illuminate it.
So there's no thoughts of putting some floods on the building, just flood in the parking lot?
Not at the moment.
Can I ask one more question? You keep talking about pedestrian. Are these the people who work there? Is that what you're talking about?
So, yeah, so I keep saying pedestrian doors.
Sometimes thinking
So-
you're people in the street.
No. So the reason why I keep differentiating between the two is because we have the main garage doors for vehicles. So like, again, those big garage doors, you can open it up, a box truck can drive right in, or a car or truck.
So you need such a.
But the pedestrian doors are a normal swinging door for a
Mhm.
pedestrian.
I understand.
Yeah. So
I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I was thinking clearly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And, just, there's no, I saw the snow storage is in the middle of the parking lot. We're planning on just removing all the snow.
Correct. Yeah. So we have some minor snow storage areas. So we have along here, we have any one of the islands, and typically that's pretty much where it's going to be pushed to temporarily. We have this big void as well in front of our mechanical units, generator and stuff. So if you look,
That's all pavement, correct?
oh yeah, it's all pavement. So even if you look all right here, there's no real need for other than movements in these vehicles. So we'll be able to temporarily stack up snow there until we're able to remove it.
Or are you able to move it to the front of the building? Because that's all grass in the front, right?
It is, but no.
So it needs,
If we're gonna move it, it's
you
gonna
have to
be
hire a
designed.
contractor and
Yeah.
truck it off. Okay.
Correct.
And then, the improvements that have to happen on the site next door, I understand it's the same owners,
Yes.
but, it's needed for this application. Those improvements and the,
Otherwise, we'd have to construct a wall here
right.
just to bury it when he comes in at the next application.
I get that.
So it's really a cost thing, and
Right.
just ease of development. So, because in that area, when
I understand completely, and it's the easy thing to do. I'm just always trying to think, worst case scenario, God forbid something happens, this gets pushed back, that lot gets sold, and now the new neighbor doesn't want anything done over there. You know, how,
this is gonna have to be filled either way to gain access to that lot, because
Okay.
the main development area here, this is gonna need to be filled in for the driveway. to get in back there anyway.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be a hindrance for, like, you know what I mean? It's not gonna create a hardship for the other.
It actually eliminates you guys moving trucks off site.
Yeah,
Well, I get it all. I'm just I always try to think of it from all angles.
while we're kind of talking on the same topic here, I do have a note for a retaining wall that is needed right here along the exit drive. And this is actually gonna, this exit driveway is gonna be higher than right here. However, I have been in contact with the developer for here, and as they develop, that wall won't be needed, but I'm depicting it on the plans in the event that they don't. You know, because it's gonna take we have a lot more site work than they do. So they at least gave me the preliminary, but I don't even know if they came in front of me yet. But we have a lot more site work, so it's gonna take us a little longer to get ready there.
No, I appreciate the investment. It's going to be a substantial investment for the applicant, and I look forward to seeing the completed project over there. I will reiterate, like everyone else, that some renderings, so see exactly what we're looking for. I think we've asked for that the last time we approved the building down in Trowbridge, and it worked out really well. And I would just again recommend some site lights. And I'm not saying pole lights or anything, just some floods on the back corners, some light up the parking lot. I think that would be beneficial, especially during a snowstorm or someone burning the late night oil walking outside.
It's 5 o'clock. It's started.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
sometimes
So
4:30.
that's an inexpensive fix there without having to put poles up or anything like that. And yeah, you just put on, I mean, the site is not that huge where I don't think you need to have.
No, yeah, we most likely be able to, and I'm not worried about light trespass either, because again, we have this wall, so.
Right.
It's not gonna
That's why I
trespass over there.
think it's not that.
And we probably get, 3 or 4, especially along this back end, and I think this is the main focus.
Mhm.
Because this is where a bulk of the people are gonna be parking. And maybe another one.
And was there any consideration to put solar on the roof?
Not at the moment. It may have been discussed with the architect or between the architect and the client, but that's not the.
That's the end of my questions. So we're gonna look to continue this to our next regular meeting on October 14th. And we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move into our business meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? We have 2 minutes to go over. First ones were from our meeting on September 9th, 2025.
I don't know voting, but I did watch the meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Had a minute? Thanks, thank
I don't know what group to me. I've now watched everything. Some of them twice.
you. Is there any discussion on these minutes?
Oh, good. Take a motion to approve the minutes from 9/9/25.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. All right, we will, also, we have the special minutes from our special meeting on September 16th, 2025. Does anyone have any discussion, questions? Concerns, comments, nothing? Seeing none, I will make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Excellent. Amanda, we have no invoices? Okay, we will move into our work session. We have for Vessel RE Holdings LLC, 4850 Nashville Road. It's the 830G site plan. We're all very familiar with it. I will just say as a note to everyone in the room, this is a work session. It's not a public hearing. So please, please, please keep your comments to yourself. Let us do our work. Let us talk it out. All right. I don't want to ask anybody to leave, but I will. Just want to throw that out there. So anyways, guys, I asked staff to put together 2 motions for us. Has everyone had a chance to look at them?
No.
Okay.
You have some.
There was do you have copies of those?
I do not have
You can print off mine. So just to read them out. We had the motion to approve last week. We were all just coming over. It had, I think at the time, we had 24 conditions of approval were added to it. I think that's kind of where we are right now. We're at 23. I know there's substantial concerns as far as the wells go. I know that was something some of us were hung up on. I know I was. So I also asked staff to draft a motion to deny and put it both ways. So then us as a commission can talk this out and weigh our options and kind of go from there. So does anyone have anything to add before I continue, or? Okay. Mike?
No, I don't have that.
I need to, what do you mean? Yeah,
I mean, do you have anything you want to bring up, want to talk about?
about the application?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do. I spent the weekend going over every single meeting that we've had on this particular subject. So I could be sharpened and I knew what I was talking about. If you want to deny an application, it has to be because of health, welfare, and what was I forgot? I don't have that. Safety. I'm sorry, safety. Okay. And so as I said, going over them all, the one thing that shocked me was the largeness of the people who came out to talk about residents of this town and how they all felt about it. And to me, that means welfare. I did not hear one positive thought from a resident of this town. And the reasons they weren't were many. And so I think as a member of this board, I have to say that the town spoke out loud and clear at our public hearings. And I realized that there's no technical, but the welfare of this town to put a 5-story building, which we do not have in this town, in the middle of a small neighborhood. I'm sorry, I cannot visualize it, and I know the people of this town don't want to either. So, let's be voting now at the same time.
No, I'm going to ask for a consensus.
That's the way.
Today, after looking at the 4 approve and deny, I think there were things missing that I had brought up. And I sent a copy to Jeremy. I emailed this evening, 6 o'clock. They didn't have the materials list. We didn't have lots of information in the plans. So it was really, we're making decisions on something we don't have all the information on.
I agree.
So that's number one. And I had asked about the retaining wall and saying about a fence, and then they said, oh yeah, we'll put a 4-foot fence on there. That wasn't considered. This other project that we just talked about, they're talking about the fence and how it's built and everything else. We don't have any materials or what the fence is going to look like. I felt that was a safety issue. Also, I brought up about the excessively steep access driveway, and that seems to be a problem to me. And I'm sure for the people that are going to be living there, the kids that are going to be coming down the street, going down to the bus. So I brought up about the sidewalk issue, being a concern, and needing a guardrail. which they said that they would do guardrails. But those are not in the plan. I don't think there's any update with those things on there.
I think there's a guardrail, there's not a sidewalk.
Okay, but, you know, they didn't have any fence on there. And then, regarding the wells, I don't think that people should be forced to have to pay in perpetuity because they want to do this project. I just don't think that's right. You know, I know the one for approval, you know, there's a lot of stipulations, but I think that they should have to pay in perpetuity for these people if they agree. And then the lack of parking is a big problem because there's no place for people to park who are coming to visit, and delivery trucks coming, residents, visitors. I don't know where they plan on having them park. And we know that walking on Nashville is not safe, as we've seen now recently over the past day. So those are issues that I think need to be addressed in both of those for or against threats.
Bob, is there anything for us?
I still have concerns about the outside contamination of wells, but also of the concern for the safety of people, pedestrians walking in the driveway to get from the building to the road. I would like to see something there. If we approve or deny it, it requires them to put in a walkway so people could safely get at least down to the road to get to the bus. Thank you.
Yeah, before you go, Paul, I think there's probably some things, you know, the commission chooses to resolution of denial that we need to add to that letter.
And that's why these are drafts.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. And
We have to make a decision on this by our next meeting.
no, I got you. I understand.
So that's why I asked for this.
Sure.
So we have variable.
I got you.
You get an idea of which way we want to go and then
I got you.
tune it. No, it's fine.
And Chuck wrote an email tonight.
Yes, our land use attorney is all up to speed on this. He's actually Chuck's on with us this evening. For the record, Chuck, do you want to introduce yourself?
Chuck Anders, attorney for the commission.
Excellent, thank you.
Also
and
with us tonight is also Laura Vasiliou, health director. If you have questions for her about the wells.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's kind of my hang up is the whole well situation. Because, and I asked you this last meeting, is the threshold for health and safety for the public one person? And if we're talking that we have the potential to ruin someone's well with this development, and then at least not even tell them. I mean, we still to this time do not know who these three people are that the applicant has identified. We've asked them, they have not identified them. So Laura, my question to you is, in your experience, is this acid rock situation, have we had problems with it in the town of Bethel before?
Yes, I've told Attorney Andres, and we have some representatives in our town that have been worked with me on it, Attorney Martin Lawler and Attorney Melanie O'Brien. We had a very complex, very traumatic case a couple years ago, and that's how I learned about it. And the house was determined to not have drinking water. I could not release it for a certificate of occupancy, and it couldn't be habitated. And this went on for almost a year. So it was the DEP put the responsibility on the town at first, and then the builder for being the polluter. There's the statute that Attorney Andres has that they cite if there's groundwater contamination. I share your concerns. We did provide the applicant with the information very upfront and transparent, and I am really taken aback that they didn't provide you with clear information of handling this, because at no time did we try to block it. We just told them to follow the deep guidance document that Deep handed me and to fulfill their responsibility.
Yeah, I feel like something's trying to be hid by not identifying these three homes. I mean, the three people could be sitting in this room and not know it. They were discussing their wells being undrinkable. But, and then.
Now for the record, we don't know for sure that the territory you're in is Old World Bethel. And I really don't know where these three wells are at this time.
Nobody does.
I just
That's
wanted,
part of-
I
that's
just
part-
wanted
that's
to
part of
let
the
you know that, and the DP guidance says that it only applies when it's within 500 to 1,000 feet, which Attorney Andres vetted from me to you, so that we give you good guidance. But in that territory and in my experience, people in our area who like their wells. And what I told Attorney Andres asked me, Laura, but in regards to what the applicant wrote you, there's no law that says that somebody has to connect their well. But there is a law that if the well's polluted, Deep will look for the polluter and they will be held accountable for it. And you have the guidance document and everything that I could find for you.
Okay. Thank you, Laura.
Now, one last comment, and I know this, and kudos to your chair. The other thing I told Attorney Andres is that I also see, because so many things come to us that are so complex, that if you did approve it with how Attorney Andres fashioned this, then all the responsibility will be on the applicant as it belongs, and they should be held and bound to that. And kudos for your efforts with that. But if you didn't do it, that would be really not good. So that is something that you can consider. The applicant should be totally responsible for their actions.
As they should be.
Thank you, Laura. After hearing that, anybody else? Unfortunately, it's a work session. They're not seated.
I didn't realize you were watching.
I don't make.
Well,
Yes.
you know, if there's 75 units, and potentially we're talking about maybe 100, even 150 people living there. At some point, they're gonna wanna walk downtown and there's no way to get there without taking their life in their hands down Nashville. Pretty big issue.
We did that last night.
Right. I agree. Jeremy, do you have anything to add to us for us, or?
I will address a couple of things that Diane brought up. Noted on the safety fencing, and as I do recall, the applicant agreed to provide safety fencing on the top of those retaining walls, so we could certainly add that as a condition of approval. I don't think that's an issue. Guardrails, as I recall, are on the plan. I'm not looking at it at the moment, but we can double check that, and if they're not shown on the plan, I'm sure they are because of the design of that road. But if they're not, we can add that as a condition of approval. So I just wanted to touch base on those couple of things. But no, I think the discussion so far is good. I'll let Chuck speak to any of the additional conditions that we've proposed, if he feels that that's, pertinent.
The whole glaze over 48 Nashville is a question mark of what we're approving.
Well, that's the things that I don't think we have clarity on. I don't know if that's something to put in as a condition of denial.
Things like not being afforded the opportunity to have a sidewalk. I know we could have asked for it the first meeting, but as I said previously, we would traditionally have that at our second meeting. We didn't have the second meeting, and then the third meeting it's closed. Right. And frankly, we see health and safety issues there, so we were denied that ability to do that. So I don't know if that's a reason to put it as a denial. Those are just some of the few things.
No, you're right, because I remember at the last meeting, I had questions and they said to me that they were closing their session of the meeting. And I, quite frankly, in my 32 years, I've never seen an applicant close the meeting.
Especially after the act where it continued to the
Right.
meeting before.
Exactly, and when,
It didn't show up.
and when we had questions, I'm sorry, that
Right.
should not, shouldn't have been allowed, it couldn't be allowed.
Right.
And they told us that they didn't have the authority to let us have a site,
Right.
which,
Is it?
yes.
That was a comment by their attorney.
I've never seen an application with of this size where we weren't on a sidewalk.
So Paul, we're not voting tonight officially?
Well, I think to, you know, I always try to boil it down, put it in layman's terms. I think what our decision to make tonight is, do we move forward with the denial? And then over the, you know, tonight and in the next 2 weeks before our meeting, in 2 weeks, when we have to decide and give our official decision, you know, what reasons for denial we're gonna give. I know the rough draft here is touches on a few of them. Or do we consider a motion to approve with the 24, right now, 24 conditions, after I just added the fencing to it, which the applicant is bound by. And frankly, we can add, if we want to discuss and add more conditions to it. You know, one of these conditions is the 4 stories instead of the 5 stories. So then, but then if we deny it and it goes to court, you know, and they get their way, then we're getting the 5-story vote. So that's the question that we have to, as commissioners, have to weigh out. Is do we play ball, prove it, and on the conditions that we see fit to try to make the best deal for the town? Or do we really think that there is a certified health and safety
Welfare.
and welfare situation here that we're gonna deny it for, and then if it actually wants to appeal it, that's up to them.
It's not easy to change the conditions.
It's not an easy condition.
But to Kitty's point earlier, of all the people that came up over the couple of meetings that we had about it, and I think I could recall one person saying that, you know, they'd be okay with taking the conditions, and that was one out of 100, right, whatever it is. And
100 people.
I don't, you can't make that decision just based on what people think, because everyone will just vote down anything that's next to them. But I do think we have valid health safety concerns here.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd be on the side of
So, if I may.
Yeah, you.
I think it's a decision we need to make today. I don't think we need to, just hear me out. There are a couple of things still open.
Chuck, can you turn off your microphone, please?
There are a couple of things still open in terms of conditions. You know, we have any kid walking from the building to the curb when there's freezing rain. We don't get enough snow to be an issue, but it's gonna be slip and slide and the cars are right next, no separation. The applicant says no sidewalk. Okay. We also have not only the wells, but, you know, here we are, the wells go bad. Who starts paying for the purchase of water for those neighbors? Nothing specified here. Those people are left out dangling in the wind. To me, if we're gonna go with this, those conditions need to be fine tuned. Okay? It's not enough to say, oh, well, the developer and the applicant and all its corporations are responsible. Responsible for what? I'm out of water. Right. Okay, and I got kids Now I gotta go out, buy
Going on a Saturday
water.
night.
I can't have them brush their teeth
Right.
with water out of the faucet. Are they okay to take a bath in that water? There are lots of unknowns here. So to me, it's not a decision that needs to be a vote that needs to be taken today. I think certain conditions need to be expanded, put down. And, we'll talk in 2 weeks. That's my opinion.
Well, I think that's right. That's why I was saying, I mean, I wasn't saying we need to hone in on these conditions. For the reasons, I should say. And I think there's some things that are being omitted. I'd like to see it.
As far as conditions for denial.
Right, it's just
Or reasons
what
for
I said
denial,
before, and I don't know how to word them, but I think they should be part of that draft.
Absolutely. I think the materials are key. Materials of the building, it's fireproof materials, whatever.
Right.
The fire chief or all of them need to look at that.
So if I can pipe in on that one just briefly, the material list, and I know that that's been brought up. I think Diane brought it up once before. I think what's important here is that you have as part of the record, Joe Versteeg, who is a code expert in the state. He's relied upon by municipalities and private developers across the state for various projects. He has come in and submitted a letter to you that's in the record that the building materials meet the code requirements. And at the end of the day, if the building cannot meet the building code and the fire code, it won't be permitted. But I wouldn't recommend hanging your hat on that one, because I know a couple of you have construction experience, and I don't mean to diminish that, but I don't think anybody on the board, as far as I know, is a building code or a fire marshal, a building code official or a fire marshal that can really review the materials and verify that it meets the code requirements or not. So I just wanted to make that point. You do have something on the record from Versteeg Associates, and I think, if this were to go to court, that's going to be the document that matters with regard to materials of the building.
Does that?
Chuck Anders, attorney for the commission. Can I make just quick?
Sure.
Okay, yes. One is just just to respond to one of the comments from Kitty. And I know you were talking about initially what the statute requires. And because we hear the word health, safety, and welfare, and the word welfare is thrown in there, and you mentioned that. Unfortunately, the word welfare is not used in 830G. It says such public interest in health, safety, or other matters which the commission may legally consider. So the sort of broad welfare thing is not in there. But just to clarify that. But what the other thing I've heard you mention though is for the timing of this, which we did put in the whereas clauses, that the hearing opened on July 8th. I think it's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whereas clauses where that it opened, that they skipped they told you they weren't coming to July 22nd and then on August 12th. And I was there for part of the August 12th. And Katie, I heard you say, hey, look, we always do sidewalks. And I missed the first meeting. You were con and because they were kind of saying, well, no, it's too late, or, or when we don't have the owner's permission. And I think, and that's highlighted that they denied the right to extend the public hearing, and they denied your right to a sidewalk. So that is in this resolution.
Sure.
And then the other things, there's a number of things that I think could be added about incompleteness, because I hear that that's sort of one of the things that you're suggesting them. Look, if you want to do this, these are the things we'd like you to address: the status of the house. There's some other details about if the guardrails are there, the fence, the other things that are mentioned, the status of we mentioned that at 48, and allowing a sidewalk and saying, if you're going to do this resubmission, we'd like to do all of those things, and to give them guidance if they want to pursue it. Those are your concerns, and it's sort of addressing, in addition to what we've said, the incompleteness aspect of this, which I understand that you want to give this a fair shake. You want to do it thoroughly, given that this is a 5-story building, which you don't have in town, and there's a lot of public interest, and that's the process. So I think we can add things to that respect. I see Laura with her hand raised.
Laura, you have something you wanted to add?
Just that in my recommendation to you and you listening to the health department, we had also asked them, hey, give us an acid rock drainage management plan and talk to you all about how they were going to control this to prevent pollution. And I don't think you received that.
That in the condition of approval, we basically made one up, and that's what it was. And it's the whole idea here is, and I think the chair or some others mentioned the last hearing. That's what I was trying to mention. We don't know if the property owners want this, and you know what? It may not cause a problem. I know they said they're willing to replace, hook them up with public water, but what if there's no problem? So what we're doing a protocol. You get the pre-development condition. You do what's the baseline data show? What are the chemicals? What are the composition of the water? You do testing in advance to establish the baseline, and then you do it afterwards, and you find out if there's any difference. Maybe they don't even have to do it, and the property owners may like that. But if there is, then it's all on the applicant. And I tried to put in as much as I could. Yes, you pay. It's 100% of your cost. It goes right to your house. And but they should have done that, right? I mean, and Laura suggested it, but one of the issues with 830G is if there's a public safety concern, can you address it by reasonable condition? And that's the way we tried to do, is we ended up doing that. The unknown here is that, like I think the chair said, the property owners don't even know about this, and you haven't had a chance to hear from them. They may be fine with this. They may be, maybe they want public water, or maybe they don't. Maybe it'd be more expensive. You don't know. That's sort of almost the due process, fundamental fairness. Should they have an opportunity to be heard before you approve this. Now, we in the conditions of approval, we sort of required them to do it. But, to get in touch and to consult and do all this testing, for which they will need to have, contacted the property owner, and they got to give us all the tests and presented all that. But it'd be nice if they knew in advance, maybe there was something else. That's the basis for the denial, is that, there's a lot of variables. There's unknown, there's third parties that are unclear. Why not just get them all done? So, but we also, we have the obligation about conditions. And if you read them, that's basically what I tried to do. You got to test for these elements, took them right out of the deep guidance manual, pre, post, and for like a year afterwards. And then they should be able to make their decision. Because that's the other thing I think they were trying to say. You got to decide within 10 days. What? Things may change over time. So you give them some time, and then that was the effort. And anyway, that when I worked on that part of it, and then, to get that addressed. So there you go.
Yeah, I just want you to know that you had asked the applicant for the acid rock drainage management plan, but your attorney actually had to develop it because you didn't receive it.
All right.
Can we judge hours?
Well, at this point, I think we should ask for a consensus from the board. It's not binding on which way we should move forward, and then next meeting on the 14th, we'll move forward. So I'll just ask you approve or deny, if you don't mind.
Deny.
I'm also deny. So we're gonna move. Bob.
Denied.
All right. So we're gonna move forward with the draft motion to deny, and we will work on with all the suggestions that were made tonight by the commission members, working this out and putting this together. And next week, or I'm sorry, next week, since that's 3 meetings in a row. In a couple weeks, in the 14th, have the official one in front of us so that we will vote on it and make it official. So that being said, I will continue this work session to our next regular scheduled meeting on October 14th. All right, and we're going to move on to number 6, new business. We have 67 Greenwood Property LLC, 69 Greenwood Property LLC, site plan excavation fill and permit. We're just accepting and scheduling this, I believe, correct? The public hearing, Jeremy?
That's correct.
I had recommended we, schedule this for the public hearing on the 28th of October.
Jeremy, is this this isn't an 830G, right?
This is
No.
not an 830G. This is in accordance with your TOD zone.
We have two that are not 830Gs.
Whoa. Correct. Two that are not 830G. And Mr. Chairman, I believe Peter Olson, the attorney that's representing this, asked for the hearing to open on the 28th, so your timeline works well.
Jeremy, doesn't he say something about affordable in one of his letters?
Yeah, your TOD zone requires 20% affordability, so yes.
It's in the TOD zone.
All right, so I'll make a motion to accept and schedule this for a public hearing on October 28th. And send out all required noticing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, is it?
What's that?
Can't hear you.
Leave the meeting? Or do you need me around?
Chuck, you're all set.
Oh, you're all set, Chuck.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Actually, Chuck, I'm sorry.
Good night,
Can you stay on for 10 more minutes?
Okay, sure, I'll be here.
Because we're gonna touch on the TOD.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on to 6B. Donna Kerber for 25 Fairchild Drive, accessory structure in the front yard.
That's not gonna be a public hearing, is it?
No, it's not a public hearing. Our regulations require the commission to make a decision on this. To make this simple as possible, she has a, what is it called, Jeremy? A cottage?
Yeah,
kitchen?
cottage food license, which is
Right.
issued by the Department of Public Health, and there was a statute a couple of years ago that was amended where the zoning commission can't prohibit the cottage food license, right? So you can bake goods essentially in your kitchen and sell them directly to purchasers. This is somebody who's doing that, who has their cottage food license and is looking to do a cart in their driveway. And I'm going to actually let Dave McCullum speak to you because he has had direct conversations with her. We went back and forth. We talked a little bit about this today, and your zoning regulations require a zoning permit for accessory structures, but there's a provision in there that says that if the accessory structure's in the front yard, the commission has to approve it. So essentially it kicks the zoning permit approval to you instead of having Dave as the CEO issue it. In this case, we're talking about, I think, like a rolling cart, and that's what I want Dave to speak in about. So we might be looking more for an interpretation of your regulations from you on this one.
Right. So Jeremy and Mr. DeCarlo and I had discussed what exactly quantifies an accessory structure. When I had talked to the property owner, she was trying to find some way to have her wares available out in her driveway for purchase instead of having to have customers come in or having to have all of her wares out on her porch or stoop or what have you. So she came up with the idea of having like a hand cart or something to that effect, like a 2-foot by 3-foot hand cart to have all of her items out for sale. Unfortunately, our regulations only address structures as far as whether they're temporary or permanent. It doesn't say anything about them having wheels and being able to physically move the whole thing by yourself. So out of an abundance of caution, I had opted, Jeremy and I had, Mr. DeCarlo and I had opted to treat this like a conventional accessory structure. And because she wants to have this in her front yard, there is language in the zoning regulations that says you have to give an approval. That's the wording for her to have essentially what's a hand cart in her driveway. That at least that's where she's planning to put it. So
Dave, let me
happy to answer any questions you may have on.
let me ask. I think this is pretty. We can make this simple. I hope.
Sure.
If we were to make a motion to say that we, as a commission, are fine with staff handling this internally, and it passes, then can you guys as staff then, give it the A-OK for her cart to be in her driveway?
Well, it's the approval has to come from you. That's how the regulations read.
So does she need to come in for a presentation?
No, so that's where you have to look at the language of the regs. And if you give me a second, I will pull that up to have the exact verbiage of it, because there's no other section in your regs that reads this way, for better or worse. Okay. No accessory structure shall be located in a front yard, the area between the principal structure and the street, without approval by the commission. So it doesn't specify process. It doesn't specify site plan review. Doesn't specify special permit. It just says approval. So it essentially could be simple as you guys making a motion or coming up with a ruling to say, hey, we don't have an issue with you having essentially a hand cart in your front yard, and you can continue reviewing you can continue
Make a
with.
motion to approve the accessory structure for 25 Fair.
No, hold on a second. I would discuss this.
At what point does it become advertising or a sign?
Yeah, you open the Pandora's box by doing this, and you're gonna set precedents for a little kid that need a permit to do a lemonade stand.
Well, I was going to get to that because I've already talked. I've already talked to staff about amending this regulation.
I mean, this is not an accessory structure.
No, it's not.
So this shouldn't even be on our table.
Right.
David should.
But right now it has to be.
Well, so you should decide whether or not this would quantify as an accessory structure in the first place. And then if
No,
it does, then you decide whether or not there's an approval.
A cart is not an accessory structure.
Yeah, but then we have to write the regulation.
We have to write a regulation for that?
Probably.
For a cart?
So that's where zoning regulations get a little bit funny, right? Because if you read your zoning regulation strictly, if it's not allowed in the reg, it's simply not allowed. And so there's nothing that allows this cart to exist. Now, cottage food license, like I said, you can't prohibit it. And so you don't, and I see Laura's got her hand up, and I do want to give her the floor, Mr. Chairman. I want to finish this thought before I lose it, because I definitely will lose it. So you can certainly, and that's why I said in the beginning that we're almost looking for a little bit of an interpretation on this. So we might want you to give us your interpretation and say, no, a food cart is not a structure and therefore not subject to the same accessory requirements that a shed or a garage might be. But then I think we do need to have a conversation, and the timing of this is funny because we had this exact same conversation in the other town that I covered last night, because we're running into the same exact issue there. We may want to come up with some language in the future that says, you can do this without a permit, but here are the parameters that you need to follow. And, there's health department approval that they need. And there's other things with regard to their kitchen and their actual processing. But in terms of selling their product, we might want to create a reg that says, go ahead and do it, but here's your parameters. And so now I'll step back and let Laura speak to you on this.
Yeah, sure.
Just because I'm here, I don't want to confuse it. I just want to share. The cottage food industry is regulated by the state of Connecticut Consumer Protection. We have many cottage food businesses in our densely populated town. I do not know where the mobile food cart ordinances of your town segue with the conversation you're having, and the also criteria that the Board of Selectmen always were part of. We're just looking at that. As you know, the town's starting to look at all their ordinances, but there were ordinances about selling food or drink to the public that segued between you, the Board of Selectmen, and public health. And so you're right that it needs to be looked at. I just wanted to let you know that you have a lot of cottage food industry and we're very densely populated. So I thank you for vetting this out so that you'll feel comfortable with where we go as a community with that occurring on the different neighborhoods and places that it can occur.
All right, so before we go, so I clearly jumped the gun because I think this, I was just trying to get this, I think this stuttering. I don't think this is an accessory structure. So I personally do not believe the commission needs to get involved in this. And if we did need to, then sure, but I understand what you're saying as far as setting precedent. That being said, my recommendation then would be that we ask staff to draw up some regulations addressing these situations. And then we hold a public hearing and add them to our regulations so that this doesn't become an issue. This is along the same lines. I mean, this is along the same lines as how when someone wants to put a shed and it's technically their front yard, they need a public hearing. But every non-conforming lot, anything anything that's like a house in the back doesn't have a front yard. Everything's front or backyard. It's not conforming. We've had that multiple times where people have to come in and have a public hearing because they want to put a shed behind their house, but it's technically their front yard because it's a non-conforming lot, and it's a waste of everyone's time and money. So, and frankly, I think this is a waste of our time. So, not a total waste as far as let's make sure we get it done correctly, but does anyone disagree with me that I don't think this is an accessory structure, that the commission does not need to get involved?
It's not a structure at all. It's a cart.
Right,
It'd be a wheelbarrow.
right,
Well, absolutely, it
Right.
could be.
right.
So, and so therefore, I don't think it's.
I don't think it's a structure.
So,
But we don't,
I rescind my motion. No one seconded it anyways.
Oh,
And,
I would say what it is.
No, you didn't.
where's,
No, that's fine.
But somebody else.
I already rescinded it. And, so I think that you have your answer. The commission does not think this is an accessory structure. And staff can work on drawing up some regulations to avoid this situation in the future.
I think we're clear. We'll get working on that.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
But in the meantime, what happens with these people?
What happens to them?
To them?
To this one?
It's not an accessory
Yeah, the one
structure.
there.
Not an accessory
Are they allowed
structure.
to roll out the cart, or
Yes.
are we gonna have?
Oh,
Not
yeah,
for us.
well, we put it on the agenda. We have to have some finality to it.
Oh,
I mean,
let's
we
have
just-
a
we
little-
did- we just did
have
that.
to.
We just did the finality. We
but-
decided as a commission that, I mean,
Not our
he,
job. The commission does
Not our
not have the
job.
authority to enforce,
It's not our job.
and therefore. they
We
can
don't
go
think
ahead
it's an
and do what
accessory
they want.
structure.
Jerry, do you,
It's not
would
subject
you
to
like a
regulations.
motion and a
Is
vote?
this what you kept Chuck on the phone?
I think
No.
I think what might be appropriate here is for someone to make a motion to find that the cart that's being discussed in this application is not an accessory structure and therefore not subject to a zoning permit. And then Dave and I'll take care of the rest of it behind the scenes.
I second that.
All right, I make a motion to determine that the cart in the application for Donna Kerber accessory structure in front yard is not an accessory structure and therefore should be not under our planning and zoning purview.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. We'll move on to number 7, public input. Anyone here have anything?
I have one thing. This came in the mail to our office, to the planning and zoning, commission. It's just a card. So, there you go. It's just a card from the public road to you guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you want it?
I can't read it. It's a script.
You can't-
You and my wife.
We're not showing that. That's on the record now, Amanda.
Who's it?
Say that. For me to read it.
For the record, who's it from? Doug. Doug.
Linda Sorella.
All right, so for the record, we received the letter from Linda Sorella.
Put it into the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Scan
gonna
it in and, yeah. There was someone back there in the back. Yes, ma'am?
If it's me.
Yes.
Nancy Suda, 2H Dale Road. This is in regard to the Fairchild, what's it called? That street, Fairchild Drive, yeah.
Yeah.
In regard to that, how about all like the neighbors? Do they want people coming up and down the road? And this is a store that's just opened up on the driveway with their little carts, whatever they're selling. We're hoping it's Scott.
Again,
I saw
it's
it.
already there though, so.
Really? So people are like allowed to do that?
Should
I mean, I know a little
There's
lemonade stands one thing.
There's a one in Oakland Road that. makes
Yes, that's
cake.
right. And what about the
House,
farm
and
that has all the
fantastic.
vegetables out there?
Right.
So that's something people can just do?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just,
I don't think these
That's what
cottages,
occurred
it's
to
not like
me.
Carluzzi's, it's these small little things.
They have
in
this
and out.
little
Yeah.
cart that they bring out there and they put all their
Right.
vegetables on, and then she leaves a thing where you put the money in.
So,
yeah, I think they do
It's
that
on-
all
it's
the
on
time.
The honor plan, so.
So-
I don't think this is a big deal at all.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking of the neighbors.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think we should taste and see.
Is there any other public
Can I
comment?
offer clarification on that for Madam Secretary real quick? This is not the same as like a produce stand where someone is selling their excess vegetables from their garden. This is something to the quantity of like baked goods. Like someone is making this in their house, in their kitchen, whether it's like a pastry or some other dessert or bread or something to that effect. But it's not the same as produce. I just want to make sure that distinction is out there, because you do have flags that address produce stands, and those are entirely separate.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Does anyone online have any public input? I'm sorry. Let me switch this on. Seeing none, yes, ma'am?
Just overall.
Name and address for the record.
Oh, Amy Santinella, 6 Foot Drive.
Okay.
Obviously. I have a larger question around 80, the 80, yeah,
Just please do not reference
I'm not.
any open applications.
I'm not. I think overall, looking at the amount of, to get to get to 10%, that's the state regulating, right?
Right,
We would have to put in
enormous.
an enormous 2,000-ish by back of the napkin. Yes, because 30% of every, if every application comes in, 30% of that structure needs to be compliant, right?
Oh, we have quite a bit of it.
We're only at 5%, a little over.
Well, that's what I was told.
5.3.
Sorry,
But anyways,
Oh,
continue.
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, 5.3%. So in order for us to get there, it's over 2,000 apartments or what have you.
Right.
So I feel like at the state level, there was a decision made that said all of these towns need to get to 10%. Nobody looked at the infrastructure, the welfare, the health, the safety of any of these towns. I understand there is a place for this, for the affordable housing. Sorry, it's easier to say.
Right.
There is a place for it, and I'm not against it at all, but we have people coming in and it's a loophole to get things approved, and it really stinks. And it's changing Bethel overall. All of them. So with that being said, how do we combat this at the state level? Because I think there should be growth in that obviously over time. Bethel's been around for 200 something years, and we only have 7,300 overall structures, and 5.3% of that is the affordable housing. So there is some reasonable growth, but if everybody comes in and uses the loophole that to get their projects approved, we don't have the school systems, we don't have the safety, we don't have the structure. And it's going to be a constant battle every time one of these applications comes in. So how do we combat that at the state level?
Do you have a state senator?
Yeah, get in.
Do you have a state
Legislators.
representative?
Get in there.
They're the ones that passed 830G. It wasn't us.
We know.
The
So
going
you-
forward, all power we have, and we have no more power than you do, other than I leave a message to the governor's office once a week as the planning and zoning chairperson, asking them to look at this.
They need,
But
like,
it needs to be looked at.
Spread the word.
And,
around
and,
town.
and that
I'm,
bill that
like,
was,
all
that
fired
was
up about
vetoed
it, sorry.
earlier this year, that, the HB 5002, is 830G on steroids, in my opinion. So the best advice I can give to you or get anybody is get involved. Don't bury your head in the sand. Get on the phone, call your state reps, call your senators, call the
This doesn't
governor,
stop. It's
leave
costing all of
messages.
these towns.
Right.
It's not just Bethel, it's all of them.
It's everybody.
No, it's
And-
everybody.
And the problem is it's a blanket act, in my opinion.
It totally is.
It's a blanket act for the entire state.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for some communities.
I would
and-
say the majority of communities,
Right.
it doesn't work.
And in some communities, it's great. Some's, it's not. And some communities like ours has been just, exploited.
Tremendously.
So that's really all we can do is get involved, get in your reps ear. If you feel like your rep or your senators and that there's both sides of the aisle, and if they're not doing a good job, vote them out and make sure you tell them that you're going to and tell them the reasons you're going to. That's really the only thing we can do.
And tell it to every
I think it's
friend and
further-
neighbor you have.
I think it's further than that. I don't think they give a crap.
They don't give a crap, but somebody should
Well,
have looked
no,
at
they-
every
they-
single one of these towns
they-
and said, where are they now? Okay, 10% growth seems reasonable, 25% growth. This is double,
Tell them to drive through Bethel sometime.
or any of these towns. Like again, it's not just Bethel.
Well, but we're doing it here.
I'd love to continue this conversation at the coffee shop.
Sorry,
We have a couple
yes,
more
no,
things to
I
touch on. And
apologize.
appreciate
I
the-
just
appreciate the enthusiasm.
And there's an organization that's keeping
There is,
people aware.
there's
of what's going on.
organizations, you can, like I said, you can get
I'll
involved,
start
there's some
digging.
stuff, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna move to commission comments. Before I do that, I usually hold the chair comments for last. I'm gonna go first. Oh yeah, skip the planner's report. Well, I'm gonna segue into that anyways, Jeremy. Jeremy, can we touch on the TOD application that we had the meeting on last week? Because, we're going to have to withdraw it.
Yeah, so as we discussed before the hearing opened last week, there was an error that was found. Your zoning regulations require that any zoning change gets filed along with a plan that is signed by a licensed land surveyor. It doesn't say an A2 survey, it just says that a plan has to be signed by a licensed land surveyor, and I think Jeff is one, and so he can probably tell you that he's not gonna just sign off on any old map that gets filed. And so, as part of that, we've got a problem, right? Because whenever the commission tries to rezone a large area, you're not going to do an A2 survey filed or signed by a licensed land surveyor for, let's say 150 properties. And so in talking this over with your town attorney, I think the best thing that we can do at this point is withdraw the application, fix the regulation, give you the ability and the flexibility to make those changes within your regulation and on your zoning map without getting a signature of a land surveyor, and then refile the application. Frustrating. It's probably been overlooked every time you've done one of these. I suspect that when the TOD was first approved, it probably was not on a map that was signed by a licensed land surveyor. We have not been able to locate that original application file yet to figure that out. But the reality is, it's unrealistic for you to have to stick to that rule. 1 or 2 lots by a private citizen that wants to come in for a zone change makes total sense. Even maybe 3 or 4 lots, whatever the case may be. But I think that the commission needs to be exempted from that requirement. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. We had good discussion, I think, last week. My personal feeling is that I thought it was a good discussion. There was a lot of good commentary. And we could take all that and we can keep that and enter it into the record for the next application after we get this zoning requirement sorted out. So it wasn't a waste of time. We save that public input, and that gets put into the record on the next app.
Do we have to do the withdraw at this point, or do we wait till that next meeting opens up?
So
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think you could withdraw at any time. I don't think you need to wait until the hearing. Your land use attorney is here, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can withdraw that at any time.
Hey, Jeremy, so what happens to the motion that I made?
So the motion that you made back in March or whatever that was?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it still stands. Paul asked me about that earlier today. It still stands. I think if I'm remembering correctly, the motion was to have staff drop a new map and move it forward. We've done that. It's not going anywhere. And once we fix the regulation, we'll return to this discussion.
Do we have to use the same map?
We give one of the reasons is withdrawing it is to drop a new map. And that gives the possibility, I think.
So, right. I mean, I think, once we have the ability to use the map that you all want to use, it can look however you want it to look. It can be the same map that we looked at last week, or it could be a different version of that. Once the application is withdrawn, a new application gets submitted with whatever map you want, whatever boundaries you want.
And Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong. I know there was some heated discussion over the map lines last week, and even dating back to what was it, the mobility study presentation. There was a meeting here, there was a meeting downstairs, and I don't think anybody on the board was really happy with the final result on what the map kind of looked like and what we were presenting. I think everyone had in the back of their head that we were going to be adjusting this. So this actually gives the commission an opportunity to kind of do a reset on it and move forward with what we think is correct, which is the motion was for Kenny, but that Kenny made was to redraw it based on that map that was presented to us by Eric Swenson. Again, that map was very rough. It didn't include property lines, and as you know, it needs to include property lines. And we've heard a lot of testimony last week, and some public were complaining there was not street names and other situations. So it gives us an opportunity to really to have another crack at it and do it right.
Can we work on that
Yeah, no,
without having it be a public hearing?
we can work on the application, but so as of this, Chuck, as at this point that the application's been withdrawn.
Yeah, someone can make a motion to withdraw the application. It's your application, so
I'll make a motion to withdraw the application for the
Second.
COD change. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. I just did that because I want to make sure that we can talk about this freely, because it is a public hearing. So now that there is no pending public hearing, can we make sure we cancel the public hearing that was scheduled, because this was continued on the 20th to the 28th. Now, yes, again, it gives the commission the opportunity to do it right, so to speak. I mean, again, we all sat last week. I've been on this commission almost 4 years.
But we're changing the regulation. We're tweaking the regulation first.
Yes, so,
Take out the licensed land surveyor, and then we'll do our own.
Jeremy, can you have that?
They're getting rid of licensed land surveyor.
Jeremy, can you have that tweak ready for the 28th?
Sure. Yep.
Oh,
Jeremy, I do think all the other items on there are important, street names, and I do think our map kind of lacks a little bit of information.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no question about that. I agree wholeheartedly. And I'll take that on the chin. It should have had street names. It should have had the railroad track, and it should have had a few other things. So
right.
Yeah, no
question. So going forward, Jeremy, let's work on getting the new application put together and cleaned up. And we can reference everything we heard last week. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. As far as testimony.
I mean, the testimony's out there. You've received it. You can use it to
reference there were some attorneys that gave some input. We have our own attorney giving us input. We had plenty of people that gave input, people that were involved in the original TOD came and gave, so we can, as a commission, use that. Also keeping in mind what the motion that passed was, to really make sure when we move forward with this, it's done correctly. And in the meantime of that, we'll have that regulation change ready for our October 28th meeting. That's gonna be enough time for noticing and all that.
What we'll do is we'll submit it as a new application for that meeting, and then we'll have to do the hearing, beyond that, and we'll get the noticing right based on what we need to do in terms of neighbor notifications, adjacent municipalities, COG, and all the rest of it. But you can
Well,
expect, you can
not
expect.
No, I'm talking specifically to the adjustment to the regulations.
Right, right. But a regulation change requires notification to the COG. If yeah, so there's pieces of it that we need to stick
So
with.
yeah, we're asking you guys to just get the ball rolling on both of those things.
Yep. Yep.
Simultaneously, obviously one needs to happen first, and then once we get that done, then we can move on with the COD change.
It's a good plan.
Yeah. What's that? Chuck?
Yes, I just comment, if it's any consolation, you're not the only town that's done this. I've represented other municipalities. There was a shoreline town I represented, still represent, that was rezoning a bunch of property on Route 1. Like it had many properties, and there was something in the regulations that said, you got to send certified mail to every abutter. And they said, forget it. So, you know, and they didn't distinguish between commission sponsored applications and private applications. So essentially what the commissioner recommended, they did then was they amend the regulations to exclude the commission from those procedural requirements for the reasons Jeremy
And
mentioned.
that's what's proposing here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good. We're all good. Does any other commission comments before we take it for the night? Yes, sir.
I know we spoke last week a lot about 830G, you know, all the due diligence needs to be done. Jeremy, is there like a list, like a spreadsheet of who's in compliance and who's not? And, you know, and then we could just maybe see some progress on which ones are complete, which ones we're chasing down, and the names of each one. And,
Yeah.
you know, that would be pretty good to see. And maybe it's one developer that's not, you know, complying with this. I know it's not, because I know a lot of stuff is older and it's hard to track down, but it would be nice to kind of see, I would actually see the progress as this thing goes.
Yeah, so Sproul emailed me about that earlier today and asked for some information that I just didn't have a chance to get out to you all before tonight's meeting, but I'll get you something in the next day or so. Where we're at with really all of them right now is we need new certification forms for all of the projects. That's not to say they're not compliant. What that means is we need the certification forms telling us that they are compliant. We suspect that most of them are. The town's affordable housing administrator oversees the vast majority of the projects. And so certifications for that compliance will be fairly straightforward for the ones that he sees. David, when I say we, David, myself, the affordable housing administrator, the town attorney, and I think Beth was on that call as well. We all met with your town attorney last week, Monday, I think it was, David, to go over all of this and to sort of make sure that we're all on the same boat, going in the same direction. We have a sort of a revised list of, hopefully a final list of documents that need to be found and added into the application. Staff is working on those. Amanda's got the list on her computer. She knows what that is, and she's been digging through files. And so we're working as fast as we can, but I will get you some of that information this week.
Thank you.
Enough? I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Diane has
Oh,
something to
sorry.
say. I was gonna say something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Quick. We didn't vote.
Yeah, Beth, had, when she was still, here, had, gotten some group to redo the maps. So we had updated maps. She said it was gonna take about 6 months. I think we're either at 6 months or beyond 6 months. I wondered where that was at. And I guess that.
That's an update to your zoning map, and that was one thing that Beth was working on post-retirement. I don't know where she is with that. We can reach out to her, and I think they were working with SLR to do those maps, and I'm not quite sure what the status of that is, but we can find that out.
Okay, and then the other thing was we voted to give $60,000 to look into, you know, the feasibility of senior housing at the old police station. So I'd like to know an update from them on that, on what's going on there.
I'd like you to focus on 830G, but those other items.
Right, but I think, but it would be helpful if we knew where some of those things are, because, I mean, if that's something the town is gonna do, or we're gonna try and do, I mean,
One would think would be up to us.
no,
That's up to the town.
it's up to the town, but we gave $60,000 or 50,000 or whatever it was for a feasibility study. So I think we need to know what
Did a
the,
report back at some
what
point.
the report is. Not what it's to best.
Was that an 824 referral that you're referring to?
I'm not sure what it's.
I believe so.
I don't think the planning and zoning
Do some
commission had
kind
the
of
ability
feasibility
to
study.
give anybody money, but it was probably a referral that went to you.
No,
No, Jeremy, I have notes on it somewhere. I'll give you a call tomorrow when I take it out.
Okay, that'd be good, because I'm in the
I know
dark on that.
exactly what he's talking about, and I'm sure I have it somewhere in that bag of tricks.
Okay.
Something.
Okay.
So,
that's it, yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun. All right, I had a motion, I had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, all. Thank you.
All right.